Welcome to the Pride of Detroit PODcast, prideofdetroit.com, Pride of Detroit on Twitter, Pride of Detroit on Facebook. The most glamorous, finest, toe-tapping, watch-wearing podcast around about the Detroit Lions. And I'm going to be even more obnoxious and more overbearing, and you're going to have to learn to deal with me because the Lions got a second win, number 2. Imagine what happens when this team is actually good. Imagine what happens when this team is like literally just dunking on people, because it will happen at some point. I believe, and maybe that's the takeaway from this game. I'm Chris Perfett, your adequate host at Chris Perfett on Twitter. Still wearing off the glow of post-game of an utter domination of the Lions beating down the Arizona Cardinals, who were 2 games ago looking like you could pencil them in for the NFC West crown. Now I don't know. But let's get to the rest of the crew. Jeremy Reisman, fearless leader at Detroit on Lion, still mustachioed, still rocking and glam stepping and doing all that stuff. How's it going, Jeremy? How's this one feel?
Oh, it feels good, man. I know they're like, I feel like an afterglow will wear off and some people will complain about draft and all that nonsense. But man, that was a complete Lions game that we haven't seen in quite some time. In years, no question. And it felt good to see it all come together in maybe one of the more unexpected places where, given where the Lions roster was, given the opponent, given, nobody inside Ford Field, it just didn't feel it. You went into week 15 thinking the worst was going to happen, especially coming off of a blowout from the Broncos, and you get something completely different, and it changes everything, right? It changes the complete perception of the future of this team. And maybe that's an overreaction, maybe it isn't, but right now I'm enjoying what I'm seeing, and that's all that matters to me right now.
It's a feather in the cap of Dan Campbell and this crew, I think, more than the Minnesota game was.
Yes.
Even more than that. Like, I know that first one probably feels special to him, but we got to get to our third man here since we're doing Ric Flair voices. Let's bring in Ryan Matthews, the rock god, at Ryan_POD. Ryan, buddy.
No mocks needed.
No mocks needed.
Hashtag no mocks needed.
No mocks needed. I just
don't bother us about mocks.
Man, what a win by the Lions today. Like, just what an incredible football game from start to finish. Like, this wasn't even, like you said, Chris, I think, for as much as this team celebrated that first victory over the Vikings,
and rightfully so, when you get a walk-off touchdown, yes, absolutely. As your first win, absolutely.
Yeah, you should definitely celebrate that, but this win is the kind of win that really defines your year. I mean, it's not saying that the Lions can go out and lay an egg the rest of the season, but I just don't think that's on the table. I think that with the way that they fought in this game and the way that they put together a 4-quarter victory, this was the most complete game that they have played all season long from start to finish. And it was just so funny how it started. It started with the Jared Goff sack, and it was like, oh man, this might
Here we
be
go
a long
again.
one.
And then he found the spinach. Then he found the Popeye spinach.
Yeah, and I mean they go into halftime up 17-0. They're making great play calls on 4th down. I mean, it was everything that you could have wanted out of a Dan Campbell victory, and man, it's the best win that the Lions have had in 3 years.
Let me make it more impressive, though, by going down the depth chart that the Lions had for this game that I think Eric Schlitt compiled. Just looking at running backs, Jermar Jefferson, Godwin Igwebuike. The one downside for that day was Igwebuike continuing to fumble.
Sure. Craig
Reynolds, Netflix himself, big man Craig, going out there, but we'll talk about Craig in a second because he's one of the outstanding ones. Charles Harris at will linebacker, your Alex Anzalone, who left in this game at some point. Will Harris playing on the outside corner?
Yeah,
because they're trying to figure out their quarterbacks. Because I can keep going on, Jeremy. This was not the Lions at their most complete. I think the only place where they've really improved personnel quality wise coming into this game versus where they were a few weeks ago is wide receiver. Because we'll talk about it in a bit, but Amon-Ra St. Brown has turned into Sun God, the living weapon. And Josh Reynolds continues to have that connection with Jared Goff. Every other position feels like it's been taken a step back from injuries, from flu, from COVID, from call-ups. Shane Zylstra was involved in this. Brock Wright was involved in this.
For all the wrong reasons.
Jason Kabinda had a touchdown.
They brought in a litter of guys in the secondary. Someone named Brady Breeze and Savion Smith.
Brady Breeze,
fantastic name bracket guys, but guys that just, no one had ever heard of going into this game. And yeah, you're right. Like defensively,
the point is they weren't in the name bracket, right?
Yeah, they weren't even eligible for the name bracket, and yet
they were eligible for it.
But like, yeah, I feel like this is combined with the Baltimore Ravens game in week 3 or 4 or whatever that was. This was Aaron Glenn's like moment, because you mentioned it, like they're down their top 2 or 3 linebackers. They're down, both the Okwara brothers. They're down Trey Flowers. They're getting crazy production out of
Anzalone left in the middle of this game, I think.
Yeah, in the first half. He didn't play much at all. We mentioned all the defensive back stuff. No Tracy Walker, no Jerry Jacobs, no, Ifeatu Melifonwu barely played at all because they just got him back at the last minute. So they put Will Harris, the guy that everyone hates at outside corner, and it all freaking works. The Cardinals don't score a touchdown until the final 5 minutes of the game, when the Lions were just giving up yards anyways because they already had a 21-point lead. This Aaron Glenn's finest moment, I think, with the Lions, and it's so telling that they're getting this sort of productions out of cast-offs, out of practice squad players, and it just makes you think, like, where's the limit for this defense once they start getting some like actual bona fide talented guys that can, that don't need good coaching up. They're automatically already good. And man, that's got me feeling good, because this team hasn't been great defensively all year. They've shown flashes, and they weren't perfect today. I think the Cardinals had 3 or 4 runs of 20 plus yards, but when they got into the red zone, the Lions clamped the hell down. And I think the most telling sequence of events was the fourth down, the goal line stand, right? First down, I think they get a nice tackle from Will Harris. 4th and 3 on the 3rd, yeah. Yeah, the first down they get a tackle from Will Harris on a screen pass. I don't remember what happens on 2nd down. 3rd down, Oruwariye breaks up a pass in the end zone, and then 4th down, AJ Parker gets a pass breakup. Those are guys, Will Harris playing out of position, AJ Parker, undrafted rookie, and Amani Oruwariye, who, like, listen, I mea culpa. Like, this dude is playing his ass off right now.
I think on that second play, Jalen Reeves-Maben got involved, and great day for JRM too.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, the secondary is playing much better. They're not perfect, but again, like it all comes back to coaching, and that's probably the entire story of the entire game. But to me, defensively speaking, I just came away so impressed with their effort. I think I joked around after, because we did our Madden sim, and the Lions won the Madden sim like 13-10 or something low scoring, and I said, if Aaron Glenn can hold the Cardinals to 10 points, that dude deserves a head coaching job right freaking now. And because he might deserve one right freaking now.
Well, he gave up 12, so he should be 12. Okay, Jeremy.
And really only 6, because that touchdown at the end of the game was
how
nothing.
much? How much can you really trust that? I guess I don't know. Whatever. I want to give some accolades at least to the offense for 2 things. For number 1, the first half was a brilliance of time of possession, just dominance. You're talking about Kyler Murray, who I know his MVP star is faded. I know he's without DeAndre Hopkins, but your first thought is you need to limit how much time this guy is spending on the field. So yes, they take the sack to Jared Goff and then proceed to sit on the Cardinals defense for almost 9 minutes to start the game. The only possession the Cardinals get in the first quarter is a 3-and-out, no yards. They come back in the second quarter immediately minus 2 yards. Again, defense, but the Cardinals, like the Lions, sit on them to start the game. And I think there was also like a close to 6-minute possession later in the game that ends in a field goal. That was the final defining score. Not the final field goal, but that was the one where I'm like, all right, that's ball game at that point. Also, how long's it been since we've seen where this team can get a turnover and then turn it into points? And not just a turnover, but a turnover after a turnover. Igwebuike fumbles on the first possession of that half for the Lions. But then 2 plays later, Oruwariye just snaps it back from Kyler Murray and almost takes the full way. And then, next play is a touchdown. Like, you put it in. Like, the Lions led by about 4 minutes for time of possession in this game. And they the big turnover, they turned into, they made sure that the Cardinals felt it, that was the back-breaking play that they were not going to come back from.
No, the biggest, I think the biggest, excuse me, I think the biggest play in the game was the downs that they forced at the end of the first half, right? They get the Cardinals to turn the ball over, like we just talked about, and then they go 9 plays, 97 yards in a minute 40, and it includes going for it on 4th and 1 to an awesome play that they had dialed up for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, you talk about a change of possession, you talk about taking a turnover and making the most of it. I mean, that's a 14-point swing right there, because you're keeping the Cardinals out of your end zone. And that could have easily been a 10-7 game going into half. Instead, it's 17-0.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, huge. Like, I mean, like, even go back a couple weeks ago, could you imagine that this Lions offense could run a 2-minute drill?
I'll tell you what, Ryan, when that happened, and half the reason you go for it in that instance for the Cardinals is because then you have the Lions backed up and you use all 3 of your timeouts and you get the ball back and you hope you score. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I thought. The Lions were going to sit on the ball. They're going to run the ball 3 times, try to get out of their own end zone, punt the ball away, and then the Cardinals score a touchdown. It's 10-7 at the half. Like, that's exactly what I thought was going to happen. But the Lions, I think they ran on first down. The Cardinals called timeout, and then they throw on second down. They throw on second down. They get the roughing the passer, and suddenly they're in business. Get another roughing the passer, and then just move the ball.
This has been a week where coach decisions have been under the microscope almost every day, starting with Brandon Staley repeatedly going for it on 4th down and repeatedly failing, which brought out the usual suspects to scream about analytics and everything else. And I agree. There were some plays Brandon Staley probably shouldn't have risked it for, but whatever. We're not a Chargers podcast. But then you go and then, like, Bill Belichick kicked a field goal down however many points to the
17 or something. Yeah. He
17
made a 2-score game a 2-score game.
Yeah. Great. Fantastic. And then, but then coming to this game where we've got 2 different sides of the coin, Jeremy, where we've got Cliff Kingsbury. I don't fault them for kicking a field goal to start the first half. At that point, you're still scoreless, get points on the board, fine, whatever. Kicking a field goal when it's 24-3, okay, you're kind of giving up the ghost here. And then the touchdown at the end of the game where they decide to go for 2, like, I guess maybe we were talking about this before the stream, like maybe that's an extension of the decision. Do you go for 2 when you're down 2 scores and you score the touchdown? Like, maybe extension of that, but still it was kind of baffling. And again, if you're suddenly being aggressive, like, why'd you kick the field goal?
Where was that the rest of the game?
Yeah, where was that the rest of the game? And like, they tried going for it 4th down twice in this game, both times fail. Meanwhile, Dan Campbell, how many? So there was that one 4th down they converted. I think they converted another.
They went for another 4th down. That's pitched, right. But it was the false start penalty on Brock.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
He's on the back side of the play.
First of all, he did not false start. I don't know what the call was. Maybe it was that he wasn't set, but that's not what the referee said.
Right. So, he called it a false start, but like everybody was speculating on whether or not he was just set or not. Which,
I think it's a bad call.
Whatever, yeah. But I think the thing to take away is, like, both of the 4th down calls were really, I mean, they were good calls. Yep. Like that toss to Craig Reynolds, like, that would have worked. It was an easy first down. He got it. Brock Wright had no bearing on the play anyways.
Yep.
I guess what we're saying is,
talk about a guy who's in the doghouse. So Brock Wright. Yeah. Oh man,
not a great.
This Lions team misses TJ Hawkinson bad.
Really, what I'm saying here, and I'm not saying, but I'm also saying it is, even taking away the fact that Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn got a bunch of practice squads guys ready to take on what was the NFC West hopeful and probably still is. that he also in game time decisions outcoached Cliff Kingsbury.
The Cardinals got outcoached in every single way in this game. And listen, I think Dan Campbell needed a game like this because he's been under fire and maybe
for play
rightfully
calling
so.
for anything. The play calling was fantastic in this game.
Play calling was fantastic, and I mean, a lot of the fourth down decisions, right? That was becoming a big thing with him, and fourth down decisions didn't end up making a big difference. I think the interesting thing about this game is I think the Lions went into it thinking, shit, we're gonna have to throw the kitchen sink at this team. They do the onside kick right after they score the opening field goal. They're like, all right, we got to do what we did at the Rams and just throw everything. And then they're like, wait a second. We can just sit on our ass right now. We're up 17 points.
We're smell up blood. Points. We smell blood.
We don't have to do anything. We can just run the ball 40 times and win this game. And like defensively, I hate to keep bringing it back to defense, but like they got to Kyler Murray a lot. They were super aggressive on defense.
Kyler Murray's height getting a lot of passes broken up.
And well, here's the thing, like, that's a very dangerous game to play. And Dan Campbell said it himself after the game. If you send pressure at Kyler Murray, you better do it smartly. Because if you leave those rushing lanes, he's going to burn you with his legs. And what happened? Kyler Murray finished with 3 rushing yards on 4 attempts. 3!
Yeah, the most impressive.
I predicted he was going to get 70! I'm an idiot right here.
The most impressive thing Kyler Murray did was he chucked up like everyone. I think Gus Johnson on the Fox broadcast was going nuts because it was like a 45-yard throw because he had wheeled back so far to avoid pressure. It was only a 19-yard gain.
It was a prayer. Yeah. And I mean, credit to Aaron Glenn for the the design of the defense. The scheme there, but really credit to the players. I mean, like I said, when you blitz Kyler Murray, you cannot leave your rushing lanes. And the Lions, with, again, a set of guys that probably wouldn't be playing on most teams, did exactly what they were asked of. And the game plan worked really to perfection. I still can't really believe it.
Well, the one thing is you just look at the drive by drive. I mean, first possession for Arizona, 3 plays, 0 yards, punt. Next possession, 3 plays, -2 yards, punt. Next possession, 7 plays, 19 yards, punt. Turnover on downs, and then the end of the half. Like, that's it. I mean, they pitched a shutout in the first half, and for all intents and purposes, like, I mean, they gave up that 1 touchdown, but like we said, that was, I mean, the game was well over by then. Like, just it was, from start to finish, just a complete game. And it was something that, like, we haven't seen the likes of in, like, I honestly can't remember. Like, we never saw a game like this under the Matt Patricia era because, the Lions also dealt the Cardinals their first loss on the road this year. Also, like, they were 7-0 coming into this game. And I mean, the Lions, like, let's not lose sight. The Lions were 13.5-point underdogs at home.
They've never,
and they skunked the Cardinals.
They the third team in since 1970 that the worst team in the NFL beat the best team in the NFL more than 8 weeks into the season. Like, yeah, that never happens. It doesn't happen.
I think I saw the last time the Cardinals were shut out in a half was 2018.
When was the last time that Kyler Murray beat the Lions?
Never.
Never done it.
He's never done
MVP. It. Never ever.
He's never done it, and he's had 3 tries.
All right. I want to take a quick break.
Hashtag we own Murray.
We own Murray. Yeah. We own our small son, Kyler Murray. Can't get the ball over his lineman. All those jokes about his height, whatever. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I want to examine some individual performances because there's definitely a man of the hour named Reynolds. There might be another Reynolds we mentioned. There's a sun god. There's plenty of there's 2 different guys named Harris.
Bearing the lead.
Yeah. I thought your lead was Netflix and chill.
No. Charles Harris is a man possessed, and I cannot
man possessed. Let's talk about that. And yes, accolades to Jared Goff, who averaged 8.3 yards per pass in this game. Never thought I'd see that again. We'll be right back on the Pride of Detroit POD cast.
The Ravens did it again.
They did it again? What'd they do now?
Down 1, they went for 2. And again, they didn't convert.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions! How about that?
Dang it, Ravens!
Kyle, you're fired.
Kyle, what'd you do? Katie, thank you for the 15 months. As Lions win, go Lions, one pride of Kool-Aid, and then a bunch of emotes. Bissell, thank you for the follow, and then Chris, thank you for the 16 months using that Twitch
I thought
Prime.
I just resubscribed, and like now, then it's like, oh yeah, you're not subscribed. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. Maybe you were late to do it. I don't know.
I think it was a late announcement for last month.
Beer back. My dog is chewing on something.
Oh,
I
your
wanna make
dog's
sure
doing
it's
something? Okay.
It's appropriate, but I'll be right back.
Jeffrey Bezos.
Jeffrey Bezos.
Oh man, I can't believe Baltimore made a game out of that. Last time I checked, it was like 6 minutes left and they were down 31-17.
Yeah, they were down 17, and Kyle was in here like, oh, pray for us. I'm like, no, you failed us. You failed us. Jaguars also failed us. I would have rather them get the win than the Texans, but
No. The bevel bounce takes a week to set in. He needs a full week with the team, and he's going to play the Jets next week, and they're going to blow
we
out
didn't
the
get to
Jets.
talk about that Tom Pelissero report at all about Urban Meyer, which, by the way, very funny that NFL.com is the one to put out the report to bury him. Like, the Shield was not going to protect Urban at all at that point.
But at the same time, who was the first person that talked to Urban Meyer after he got fired?
NFL.com.
NFL.com.
No, they're an equal. Well, I think they wanted to like give him some more rope to hang himself with, but you know, I love the idea. Speaking of Darrell Bevel, that Urban Meyer challenged all of his assistants and said, where have you won? Like, what have you done? Where have you won? And we talked about it during the Monday night game, Jeremy, when that report came out. But the thing I missed completely was I completely forgot. I should have said like Darrell Bevel should just raise his hand and says, "I've got a fucking Super Bowl ring."
It's not Darrell Bevel style.
I know, but I'm just saying, like that's the fly in the ointment. If your argument is you guys haven't won anything,
Right.
and you've got a Super Bowl champion among your assistants.
I mean, nothing Urban Meyer did or said makes sense.
Yeah,
Just and like that kind of goes back to one of my points I want to make about the Lions right now is like they're playing a lot better, but like they've also been much better than their record has said for a while.
Everyone agrees. Everyone nationally, like,
Yeah.
I think they agree. They see the Lions playing hard every week.
They're a better team than the Jaguars. They're a better team than the Texans. They're probably a better team than the Jets as well. Like if the Lions finish fourth in fourth as the fourth worst team and
That's
fourth in draft order,
representative.
Yeah.
That's representative of how well
who
the
they
teams
are.
have played.
And so you can't be too mad about it. Like maybe it would have been nice, but like this team is good. Not good. This team is better than a 1 or 2 win team.
It's
they are.
better coached.
And it's why back in October or September I said this team would win 4 games, and now they still may. So suck it.
Oh, stop it.
Stop it.
I remember you wanted to trade in that bet.
Several times.
They've essentially already got 3 wins. Let's be honest. Why do I have something in my mustache?
Yeah. You do have something on your mustache. It's gross. At least we're getting towards the end here with the NFL season. I'd be surprised if we actually finish it in place given Omicron, though.
Anyone see that SI Gardner Minshew to Detroit article? What does that even mean? I don't even know why.
I don't want to look at the corpse of SI and whatever they're meandering, whatever those like posers are meandering about.
So
It's
the
not
Packers
SI,
officially
like-
won. Sad.
Yeah, there was a Packers fan in our Discord like thanking us for beating the Cardinals. I almost kicked him right there and then. Let's see here.
Oh,
So
it was Gil Brandt.
Oh.
Like they're pulling something from NFL.
Oh, was it God? Was it so? Gil Brandt thinks the Lions should go after Gardner Minshew.
He labeled the Lions as one of 6 quote trade fits for Gardner Minshew. Who's listing 6 different landing spots for Gardner Minshew? Who gives a shit?
Right. 4 games on the board prior to Detroit. Gonna take down Seattle and Atlanta. You think so? Who's gonna gift?
Coming for all the bird teams.
Who's gonna gift us 50 subs when that happens?
I think we'll take down Seattle. I don't know about Atlanta.
Really?
Like I know they.
I think the
I
opposite.
know they just got really.
Kinda. I don't think Atlanta's very good.
No, they're not. I just think they match up better to beat our defense.
Maybe. I don't. Well, let's see how Seattle plays against the Rams. So I don't know. Like the Seattle's maybe playing a little bit better, but I think in general it's tough to win in Seattle.
Yeah. What's the next article where Mike Glenn and Colt McCoy want to go next, dude? Colt McCoy, you made this great. Was it you who made that great joke that Colt McCoy is the opposite of a victory cigar?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
I think I called it a failure menthol or something.
Locker room video is out. I imagine, chat, you're going to want to watch it with us.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Dan Campbell, very surprisingly, very muted in the press conference, I've got to say.
Well, yeah. Well, he has to be. Otherwise, Woodward Sports is going to complain that he's too rowdy about a 2-win team.
By the way, though, you want to talk about rowdy, man, Jared Goff, I want his hat and I want Amon-Ra St. Brown's jacket.
Yes,
like,
I want the jacket too.
Everyone's sporting some great Detroit gear up there.
God, the Packers sealed the NFC North today. I feel sick. Anyways, locker room video.
Yeah,
let's watch it together. Here we go.
Let's do it as a family.
Desktop. Do you want me to share screen? I guess that would make sense.
Yeah, sure. I'd like to see it in real time.
Hold on, chat. Hold on. That's the wrong button. That is also the wrong button. Share
You know what? This
screen.
seems like it's rough for you. So why don't you just play it
No.
on stream?
I
I'll be
got
like
this.
20
I
seconds
got this.
delayed.
There you go.
Okay.
You see it now? We're good?
Yeah. Can I get audio?
You see it.
Do you hear it? Do you hear that or no?
Clicked it. You haven't clicked it yet.
I have several times. Are you hearing that or no?
No, I'm not.
Nope.
All right, hold on, chat. Be patient. Advanced sharing options. Slow down! Dang it. I do have new lighting, yes. Thank you for noticing.
Just do it on stream and I'll listen to it.
You're trying.
Share sound. Boom. How about now?
We got to play it.
I am
You
playing.
haven't played it.
I am playing.
Hold on. Oh, wait.
I will redo it.
Yeah, it wasn't playing on my...
Where is it? No, it's
Yeah,
is it
everyone's
gone?
like, play the damn video.
All right, relax, chat. This is my stream.
Oh.
Your headphones in? Yeah, I've just been doing this while like pantomiming, listening to Jeremy and Ryan. All right, go for it.
Hey man, welcome to Detroit. Man, I tell you what, we did everything we said we needed to do to that team. We did everything. And I tell you what, defense, you took it personal. It's 3 and out, man. You guys are making them have to punt. We turn the ball over offensively, right? And then we defensively, a mighty 2-4, get a turnover. I tell you what, offensively, man, we came after them early, man. We said we're going to be aggressive. We took some shots, and we made them. We made our shots early, and then we just started hammering them. Hell, our first drive was 8 minutes, man. You guys are a tough, gritty group, man. You're a tough, gritty group. You always have been, and now you're seeing the dividends, man. Look, a team gets 1 out, 2 out. We got multiple guys out, and multiple guys stepped up, and that's what we're capable of. Hell yeah.
Who is that? Wait, who was that?
It was Craig.
Oh, that is Craig
Yeah, it
Reynolds.
is Craig
that's
Reynolds.
Craig
Yeah.
Hey, that's a team win right there. Hey, that's a team win right there. Picking each other up when we need it. Good shit, boys. Why not win the next 3? Let's go. Win on 3. 1, 2, 3. Win, baby!
Did we get a good shit, boys, without it being censored there?
Yeah, I think you got through. We got through.
Good shit, boys. Why not
Yeah,
win the
we
next
did. Hold on, I want to go back. Like, there's a sneer that
They cut out an F-bomb from him. By the way, that's just our first segment of the podcast.
Look at this face. Look at this fucking face.
New DC emoji. New emoji. It is.
And he holds it for a couple seconds there. Look at that shit.
Rawr, rawr.
I don't know why that
Yeah.
tickles me so much, but I love
Oh,
it.
that's good. That's good stuff, man.
That is good stuff. That was just basically our first segment.
Right?
He knew what we were talking about.
But and part of it is like the very first thing he said was like, we did everything we wanted to that team.
He even said the part I love too, like sitting on them for 8 minutes.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, like to me, it's just like,
right after he said that, somebody's like, Craig.
They had a very specific game plan, and it fucking worked, man. Like top to bottom.
To say that it worked is like an understatement. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
but that's the point. Like I've been trying to write something on Dan Campbell and Urban Meyer, not to comp them necessarily because it's still early for DC as well, but like you only have one option in the NFL, and that's to get your guys to respect you. They have to buy into you. And Dan has done that job better than Urban did. And that's
low bar, but yes.
For his reputation coming in here, Jeremy, where he was the guy who magically waved winning pixie dust over everything, and people like bought into this idea that Urban Meyer was going to turn Jacksonville around, and then they knew where there was tough sledding. For it to blow up the way it did, I don't know if it, like, perception wise, before we played games, before he started blathering about free agency being bad, that wasn't the perception when these two guys both got introduced.
Because people are idiots and hang on to 5-second clips.
But it wasn't just that. It was, here's a guy who was an assistant, probably as his highest thing. He was an interim head coach for the Dolphins, assistant to Sean Payton, versus this is a guy versus Urban Meyer, who just won at every place he went in college. Like, I'm just saying, like, that's impressive enough to hang your hat on, but we'll keep seeing, because he's going to be around for the next few years. We'll see. So
that is, unless the caller into 97.1 gets his way and they fire
Jim Harbaugh?
Campbell, who is horrible in his words, and they want Jim Harbaugh and they also want to give Jim Harbaugh 5 years because he needs that much time to get his guys in.
Yeah. Why does Jim Harbaugh want to come back to the NFL? I keep telling people on the national side of this, because people are starting to gin up this idea of Jim Harbaugh should go to the Bears job. It's like, why the fuck would he want to, like, that? His breakup with the 49ers was so toxic. People forgot how bad it was with Trent Baalke and Jed York in the 49ers. Like, he's happy in Michigan. I know the NFL guys don't like this idea that college jobs are just as good as NFL jobs, or they like this idea that, like, hey, he hasn't won a Super Bowl yet. Well, guess what? That's in one favor. Here's the other favor. More job security now at Michigan. His family is secure up there. He does recruiting, which he likes, and he's going to be earning more money than he ever will in the NFL.
And he's always going to have a winning record.
And he's always going to have a winning record. And like, so yeah, he's really just looking to beat two teams each year and maybe go to a Big Ten championship. And you're going to get, if you do succeed, you're going to get more loyalty. Because clearly winning an NFC championship didn't earn him shit in San Francisco.
Yeah. True. Anyways, no, I don't think anyone seriously thinks any of that is even possible, let alone probable. Or other way around. Either way.
NFL people are weird. I'll say that. Someone was also one of the Woodward guys was like getting on me because I was like talking about Stafford during a Rams game, and he's like, you're just, I love watching Lions fans flip out watching Stafford, and it's like, you guys are pining for something. I'm just like, I don't know. No, dude, I do national radio too. Like, please shut up. Please shut up. Did you think I'm just some like longing fan? Please shut the fuck up.
Can we pay Aaron Glenn like a head coach just to keep him? I don't know. I think
you guys are overreacting.
I think
you guys are
think
terrified.
I think 1 year is probably not enough for him to get poached, and that's also good news for the Lions, because I've seen a lot of people are like, well, at least we'll get 2 first-round picks. If I'm not mistaken, the coach, if you get poached and a guy becomes a head coach off of your coaching staff, they have to be with you for 2 years for you to get any sort of compensation for that. So, if it happens next year, it's not the end of the world. If it happens this year, that would be bad, but I don't know. I don't think it'll happen. And part of me just wants to be like, well, maybe Aaron Glenn's just a really good guy, and he really likes this situation that he's in. He really likes teaching up this young secondary. Maybe he won't ditch us after 1 year.
It feels like like a good problem to have.
Oh, man. Of course, but man, like, and
this is such
like,
stereotypical Lions fans. Like, oh no, we're good on defense. We're going to lose him and get poached.
I guess here's what I think the Lions have going in their favor is that general managers. And maybe they're more in tune than I'm going to give them credit for here. But if they just look at the Detroit Lions, the 2021 Detroit Lions, and their defense, you look at the statistics, you look at the DVOA, you look at the overall record, none of it screams, wow, what a great defensive coordinator. They're like 31st in pass defense. They're like 30th in run defense. They're giving up a ton of yards on both. They're not very efficient on either. But those of us that have been watching and have been in this shit all year, we see the magic that they're working. And
well, I mean, they've had some stinker games too, like the Broncos game.
Sure.
So like that's on the macro level. And I mean, compared to guys who are going through that coaching tree, Aaron Glenn just doesn't have that kind of resume some of these other guys do to move from DC to head coach. I mean, that's kind of reality of it. But I will say this too, as far as like, if he does get poached, the more this Dan Campbell thing succeeds, I said it before the season, this is a paradigm where former players have control as a coaching staff. It's not a bunch of guys who worked their way up from like, who capped out at Division III and they were quality control assistants to get their foot in the door in the NFL and just have never played under the shield. This is a different paradigm for guys. And if Dan Campbell has more success that way, more former players, because former players get stymied all the time at working their way up to become defensive coordinators, to become offensive coordinators. They get stymied all the time. Their ceiling usually is position coach. And it's usually a position they played. So if DC wants to give more opportunities to those kind of guys, I think he can attract some of them to come coach for Detroit.
That's kind of the unwritten narrative here. Like, besides the fact that like losing coaches for head
because he
coaching
clearly
is good because it means you have good coaches, but it also means like you're coaching these guys up. You're putting these guys in good opportunities, which, like you said, like that's going to draw other good coaches. And if there's one thing that we can pretty much say about Dan Campbell almost definitively, it's that he puts together a pretty darn good coaching staff.
And like, again, he already got Aaron Glenn to decide, I'm not going to Chicago, I'm going to Detroit.
Yeah.
He already did that. As Gallimore
and Deuce Staley, we have to give a ton of credit to, right? Like with how the running backs are performing and keeping Ben Johnson around. I mean, the one miss that I guess he might have is Anthony Lynn, but they've managed to kind of weather that and even that, like Anthony Lynn's been a pro's pro for what he's gone through this year. And I have to imagine, some of that was why Dan Campbell hired him, because he knew if shit was going to hit the fan, no matter what it looked like, he was going to act like a pro. And he's acting like a pro. So, I mean, if the Lions lose Aaron Glenn, and I think, like you said, I think a lot of this is very, very premature. I think they'll be okay.
It feels very Lions fan to be like, oh, we have something good. What terror is going to befall us? Gallimore is joking Dan Campbell coaching tree, but really, Ryan, this is the weirdest continuation. This is the weirdest mother branch of the Bill Parcells coaching tree, if we think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's legitimate, I wouldn't even call it concern, but like, I mean, there's a legitimate reason I think why people are thinking that Glenn might get a head coaching job. It's because he's interviewed for a head coaching job last offseason.
It's true.
So, I mean, he's building his resume, but like, I think the thing that's encouraging is like, you look at the secondary and like, that's being coached by Aubrey Pleasant. So like, I mean, there's seemingly a coach that's quote unquote waiting in the wings. Like if that happens. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not concerned about it at all. Cause
even as the leader of the Aaron Glenn fan club at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, dude, I want to see Aaron Glenn thrive and prosper, man. I don't care where he does it. Like,
fair enough.
I mean, eventually, like you get what you deserve in this league.
True.
You know, I mean,
he'll get his chance. It feels like it's inevitable, honestly.
Right.
Because if you just sit and listen to that man talk I think I talk about this all the time, but I love just standing in front of him and listening to his press conferences because he's smart. You can tell he the way he talks, he can resonate with people. He knows how to motivate. I'll just sit there and like if I looked at myself, I bet I have a shit-eating grin and I'm just like, in my mind, a lot of times when he's up there, I'm thinking like, this team's in really fucking good hands. Like I'm really excited about the future just because of him talking. And so I don't know if they hold on to that forever or whatever, but he's going to be head coach.
I think wherever he goes, like I don't think it's going to be the Bears. I think the Bears, like as much as I'm sure they're going to want someone to salvage Justin Fields.
True.
So that's not a complete waste. Like they're going to double down and try to find a QB whisperer. Because like that's a problem facing, I think it's going to be a trend here because that's a problem facing Trevor Lawrence right now too. Like both the Bears and the Jags have gotten these great quarterbacks that need development, and the coaches who brought them into the first year are both shit canned or about to be shit canned. Caldwell to the Bears. I have heard people saying Jim Caldwell to the Jags. I don't know if he'd want to take that mess over, but you know.
I don't know if his health will allow for it, right? I mean, he had that stint with the Dolphins and had to kind of step back from his
Urban Meyer's always talking about his health. I mean, I didn't stop him.
Really quick, I think we should probably get back into it, but let me catch up on alerts really quick. Franchism with the 2 months using that Twitch Prime. Appreciate that. And then Captain James Kirk with the 10 bits says 4 games on the board. Pride of Detroit going to take down Seattle and Atlanta. It's 4.5 wins, baby, right there. Well over my prediction. You want Zazu really quick before we go to break? All right. Zazu, come here.
Go back to the podcast. Yeah, we've got a Cardinals fan checking in. Thank you, man. Thank you, JK. Welcome.
Come here. Come on. Oh, there you go. Here, let me give you a kernel. I know you love your popcorn kernels. Wait. Get out of there. Wait.
I'm really excited, Ryan, to keep talking about 2-point conversions and going for on fourth down and all these guys belly aching about the decision when in truth it's just crap play designs.
It's pretty fun to talk about that stuff, let me tell you.
Yeah. I love how they do it too. It's like, I'm not up against analytics. I'm like, yeah, but you've also said earlier in a show that like, you know, numbers make your teeth itch. You gotta pick a lane here.
Strange.
The Cardinals still haven't tweeted the final score.
They haven't?
Apparently. The Cardinals social media was like, I was checking on it because a lot of times for my recap, I pull things from the opposing team to get the highlight. They're not barely posting anything.
Tweet was 4 hours ago. Kyler Murray connects with Christian Kirk for a 26-yard touchdown.
Hell yeah, baby.
Wait, they tweeted like 4 times during the entire game.
Yeah.
It's just not
an injury update. Matt Prater is good. Not a bad way to start. Shrug. And then, you know, them taking the field.
I mean, in their defense, was there a whole lot to tweet about during the game for the Cardinals?
Matt Prater a couple times. I mean, they had a couple big plays though. It's so weird to me. Like,
do we want to talk about Lions fans booing Matt Prater now or on the podcast?
I don't care enough about it for.
I think that should be. Yeah, I think that should maybe be a.
Someone said there were some cheers in there when he took the first field
Couldn't
goal.
hear him.
I mean, if there was, it was overwhelmingly boos, which I was caught off guard by. I don't get it. Why?
No, I think it's just a thing that Detroit sports fans do. Like they've done it to like.
We're assholes. What do you want? We're assholes.
Blake Griffin coming back to town.
Well, Blake Griffin fucking deserves it the way he sandbagged the Pistons.
Dude, I don't know if you can say that he sandbagged.
He's sandbagged.
That guy, no, I don't think he's sandbagged.
I will go to my grave saying he did not give effort.
Go to your grave being wrong.
He spent a whole year not dunking, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, I remember how to dunk now. As
Dude,
soon
Blake
as he gets out
Griffin
of town.
oh my God, who cares? Like, come on. That guy, like the first playoff appearance that the Pistons get, that guy's playing through an injury. Like, he's given it everything he has. Like, what? So he dunked in Brooklyn and he's an asshole. He's a villain.
I'm saying
He
for
was
that
sandbagging.
Yeah, he was
He was all NBA third team with
sandbagging.
sandbagging.
Yeah, I was sandbagging
for sure.
I never
but they do
thought,
it with Drummond too, so it's I don't know. It's weird.
I never thought we'd be in a place today where we'd be booing Matt Prater and cheering Jared Goff take the field after an injury.
Cheers for Jared were interesting.
I think we should talk about that on the podcast, which again
we
caught me off guard.
Let's get back.
Let's get about Jared Goff because I feel like he deserves some. He was definitely not a bum today. Let's just put it that way.
No, he was not a bum. Let's do it. Welcome back to the Pride of Detroit POD cast. Time to get into some individual performances. We wrap up Cardinals and Lions here. Let's table Craig Reynolds for a second. Craig deserves a lot of attention, but do we start with Jared Goff? This is the first time we're going to be to really talk about Jared Goff in a good capacity. We talked a little bit about him during the Vikings game, but my man here is out here posting a 93.8 QBR and averaging 8.3 yards per completion per pass.
I mean, listen, we've seen flashes of Jared Goff here and there. We haven't seen him do it for an entire game. And, he didn't have to do much in the second half, but that's only because he was so good in the first. Like, he was great. The touchdown pass to Amon-Ra, he had pressure in his face, stepped up, made a perfect pass to him. The touchdown pass to Craig Reynolds was just as impressive. Tight window there. Craig Reynolds made a nice catch. I'm sorry, Josh Reynolds made a nice catch there, contested catch there. And listen, like, I don't know what else you could have expected out of Jared Goff. Maybe one or two passes probably should have been picked. They were kind of weird, but 21 and 26, like 5 incomplete passes. You can't complain about that. He threw it downfield. He threw 3 touchdowns. He had a damn near perfect passer rating. I mean, just a fantastic game from him overall. Like, and he took shots. That I think that's the other thing. Like, what they get called for 3 or 4 roughing the passers in this game. And he fought through it all. And Taylor Decker said something interesting after the game about it when I asked him about it, because he's just like, yeah, when a quarterback stands in there and takes hits and knows that they're coming and still gets rid of the ball and still, throws it down the field, that gives us confidence that we're doing our job. Not because he's taking hits, but that they know he's going to stand in there and throw it. And he's going to stand in there and not scramble to the outside, not do a spin move and get sacked unnecessarily. Now the offensive line is playing with the confidence, knowing if they just do their job, Jared Goff is going to hang in there. And he's going to wait for a play to develop, and he's going to find the open receiver, and he's going to hit him. And that's what he did the majority of the game. And listen, we don't need to talk about the big picture topics yet of whether Jared Goff is suddenly redeemed and can he be the quarterback of the future. Let's settle all that. Let's just talk about...
We have a few more games. Yeah.
Let's see how he does down the stretch. But this is exactly what you want to see out of Jared Goff. This is exactly probably what the Lions were hoping they'd see in Jared Goff. Can he do it consistently? We'll see. But, man, fantastic game from him. Can't hate on him.
I think the big difference, I'll let Ryan jump in here just real quick after this point. I mean, I'll let Ryan jump in here as soon as I'm done with this quick point. Is like, I think the big difference is he's got receivers he'd like not only trust, but work to his style right now. He doesn't, he's not going to, he likes guys who are going to like really run their routes. He wants guys that are going to get a little bit of separation. He doesn't need them completely into clean, but like TJ Hawkinson, good as he is, he's not going to be that separate guy getting separation to make a safe throw to. And Goff's got that in mind, but with Reynolds and with Amon-Ra St. Brown's, he's got those, Ryan.
Yeah, you look at the target breakdown, and Amon-Ra St. Brown getting 11 targets, Josh Reynolds catching all 6 of his targets. I mean, those were really the two guys that led the way. And, you look at Cleve Raymond, he made a big splash play and had another reception. But I mean, it was those two guys, because I mean, the tight end depth has just absolutely fallen off a cliff. And, I think kudos to Goff, like Jeremy said. I mean, he played as close to a perfect game as he could have played. Back to the point that you made, Chris, about the play that Kyler Murray made, where he scrambled and, reversed the field and probably was like 30 yards behind the line of scrimmage to gain 10 yards. Like, I feel like that's what Jared Goff thinks he can do when he tries to bail out of the pocket, but that's never going to happen. And I thought that the Taylor Decker quote that you brought up, Jeremy, was really it was really illustrative of what I thought was the best play that Jared Goff has made as a Detroit Lion so far. And it was the pass that he made to Amon-Ra St. Brown, because, you think about even the pass that he made to TJ Hawkinson back in Green Bay. Like, that was one of the plays that really stuck out in my mind, is like, wow, that's like a big time NFL throw, like putting that ball in a tight window, over the shoulder throw, like only where your receiver can get it. This had like the added element of like Goff stepping up in the pocket, like to avoid a rush and then make that throw. Like, I didn't think that Jared Goff was capable
moving forward.
Well, I didn't think he was capable of like compounding good decisions. You know what I mean? It really seems like Jared Goff is like a one read guy. Like, if that's not there, it's a check down or it's a disastrous result. Like, what happened there was like a great play for him to step up into the pocket, and then an even better play to make that throw where he just absolutely dropped it in the bucket to St. Brown. Like, I think that's the thing that was most impressive to me. And like, I immediately thought, and I immediately said on Twitter, I was like, that's the best play that I've seen Jared Goff make all season. And that's, I hate to kind of rain on the parade, but it kind of sucks that like it took 14 games to see that.
Right.
But it happened, right? And like, I think to Chris's point, like, now he finally does have receivers that he's like developed a rapport with, like in St. Brown. He has somebody who he clearly feels comfortable with in Josh Reynolds, who's, I mean, what a turnaround for that guy. Like, I think that we need to talk about Josh Reynolds a little bit more, because this is a guy who, when he showed up to his first game in Detroit, did everything wrong. Like, offensive pass interference penalty, like, I mean, drop passes. And now he's clearly like one of the top receivers, if not the top receiver on the team.
Let me try to tie those together, because I feel like the thread there between Reynolds and Goff for both their struggles early on is like, when you come into a new place, you just need time to get everything set up, get comfortable. And sometimes you're not going to get that done in training camp and preseason. It's going to take time and adjustment. Like, look, even Dan Campbell and Anthony Lynn were learning as far as play calling and, scheme and what would work. And I think part of it too for Reynolds is that it's also the multitude. Like, and I really want to talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown, because he's ascended, a 4th round draft pick, getting used as heavily as he's been the last 3 games. He looks like he's going to be here for Detroit for the long run if he keeps playing like this.
Well, I think that's the thing, Jeremy, right? Is like, this is what Brad Holmes does. He finds receivers in the later rounds where he can get a lot of production out of them. And Amon-Ra St. Brown is just like another one of those guys.
Yeah. Just don't ask him to find one in free agency or via trade, because that apparently is very difficult.
Well, real quick to Chris's point, though, like in terms of establishing, like a relationship and establishing any kind of chemistry with a guy, like even Jared Goff, while he had that opportunity in training camp, I mean, how long was it before he lost his top 2 wide receivers?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, so they've been building the plane in the air for the entire season when it comes to the passing game.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, I keep going back to the touchdown to Amon-Ra, because it was such a uniquely designed and interesting play too, because, Amon-Ra's tight end with the line. He looks like he's blocking, then he runs to the left like it's a crossing route, so that's a pretty normal looking play, like you block and then you run a crossing route, but then he cuts it upfield, almost like a wheel route. And, they asked Goff about the play afterwards, and he's like, yeah, we ran something similar to Cooper Kupp in 2018 with the Rams. And then someone asked him, well, who designed that play? and this is where I want to direct the conversation a little bit, because the continued rise of Mr. Ben Johnson, tight ends coach, who it was Amon Ra actually who said it. He's like, I think it was Ben Johnson who, and he said, don't quote me on it, and look at me quoting him. But he said Ben Johnson was the one who installed it. Whether he created it or not, he's the one who installed it. And listen, man, this offense has now scored more than 20 points in 2 out of 3 games. Starting to figure things out in the passing game. Jared Goff is starting to look like an acceptable quarterback, and we haven't talked about it yet, but the running game looks pretty goddamn good right now. And so, a lot of questions about what's going to happen with Anthony Lynn. I think the offensive coordinator in waiting is already here. I do. I think Ben Johnson is that guy, and seems like everyone in that locker room really respects him, and the results are starting to show. And so that to me is an interesting thing to keep an eye on, because it does seem like Anthony Lynn is becoming a smaller and smaller part of this team. Ben Johnson is becoming a bigger part of this team, and it's working.
Well, you mentioned the run game, and we're almost 10 minutes in, and I think it's time to finally unwrap the packaging on Craig Reynolds. The other Reynolds.
Yeah, what can you say about the kid, man? Just absolutely making the most of his opportunities. And I think the interesting thing about this game, because I'm team running backs don't matter all that much, and I do think a lot of his success can be
draft position on running backs don't matter.
No, I'm straight up saying running backs.
Oh yeah, you're on. It's not just that with you. You're just full on like air raid. Just
right. Because I think most of a run game success can be attributed to the offensive line. But if I can push back on my own argument here a little bit, look at what the other running backs did in this game. Jamar Jefferson, 5 carries, 9 yards.
Igwebuike fumbles.
Igwebuike, 2 rushes, 0 yards, and a fumble.
Yeah, no more Godwin Igwebuike carries.
If there's that much of a difference between your running backs, okay, running backs might make at least a little bit of a difference. And to be clear, like Reynolds made a lot of the yardage on his own. Like he did that spin move that one time where he's running left and then he reversed field with that spin move and got like 8 or 9 yards. Huge play from him. And so Craig Reynolds deserves a ton of credit. I'm not trying to take it away from him, but I do think, I think the Lions' offensive line is just murdering people right now. And they're missing key parts. They're missing.
Penei Sewell is player. Yeah, and meanwhile, Penei Sewell, it doesn't matter because Penei Sewell's jawing off at the defensive line and is like one of the best graded tackles from PFF this year. Like, I can't wait till they get Ragnow back.
If there's one reason on the personnel side, like I think the coaching is the biggest reason to be optimistic about this team's future, and we saw evidence up and down the field today of that. But if you're looking for personnel, like I think the offensive line is just playing their ass off completely. Like what they had 2 sacks on the day, 1 or 2 sacks, and the first one came on the first play of the game, and it was Jared Goff's fault. Like Chandler Jones and Marcus Golden combined for 19.5 sacks going into this game. They had really good pass rushers, and you didn't hear their names most of the day unless they were getting flagged for roughing the passer.
No, that was the one thing that I said, like in our preview podcast, Jeremy, is like I thought that the Cardinals would rack up sacks in this game. I thought it was going to be one of their like get right bounce back games, and I think I don't think I was alone in that either. Like, you tweeted out like what a bunch of idiots we all were, because every single one of us like picked the Cardinals by multiple scores.
Yeah, by like 20 points.
Oh, I thought you were calling me an idiot because I had pi in my score.
Well,
like
you're
the mathematical
special kind of idiot, Chris.
I know. Names from the defense. Who do we got?
Oh my gosh, Charles Harris.
Let's start with the man on fire. Yes.
Charles Harris should be NFC Defensive Player of the Week.
Yeah.
Without question.
I'm with you 100%. Like, here's the thing, like 12 tackles for an edge defender is insane. That's off ball. Like 12 tackles for an off ball linebacker. That's a great game. If you get it from an edge defender, a guy who's mostly rushing the passer, that's fucking insane. Like, excuse my language.
3 tackles for a loss, and 1.5 sacks.
I thought he had 2.5. Did they not give him the second one?
They didn't give him the other one because I think they might have counted it as like one of a rush, maybe.
Yeah, well, sometimes when it's an aborted snap, I think they don't give him credit for a sack. But like, essentially, he had 2.5 sacks in this game.
Right. Yeah. He was.
Go ahead.
It was more than just that, and I want you to go there, Jeremy.
I think his best play was the read option from Kyler Murray. where he contained him completely and beat him to the corner and stopped him for 0 yards. That was one of the most impressive plays I've seen from anyone on the defense. And, it doesn't get the fanfare of a turnover, but man, that was extremely smart and extremely athletic from a guy like Charles Harris. And I thought it was the best play of the game.
I'm trying to so Jeremy, so it's that sequence though.
Yeah.
Like it's the contain on the first down play where he holds him to no gain, and then it's 3rd and 9 and Charles Harris gets the tackle on Rondale freaking Moore.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
For -1 yards on the screen attempt. Dude, like you're talking about two of the shiftiest players in the NFL, like two of the slipperiest dudes in the league, and Charles Harris, the edge defender, is making these plays. Like that guy, like if he doesn't win NFC Defensive Player of the Week, something's wrong. I think that he should have former NFC Offensive Player of the Week, Jared Goff, put in a phone call to the league if that's not the case.
Should we talk about the other Harris? Or is he down? I mean, again, I just want to give him props. Like playing out of position is rough in the NFL.
I don't think anybody said, "Ooh, boy, I can't wait to watch Will Harris play outside corner," because it seems like everything else he's done has gone so well. But like, kudos to him for that. But I want to talk about another cornerback. I want to talk about Jeremy's least favorite player on the roster.
Well, okay, hold on,
dude.
I already said it, man. Mea culpa. Like, he's playing his ass off.
Dude, there's nothing about that interception today that was like right place, right time. That might have been one of the top 5 defensive plays of the year in the NFL.
We're talking Amani Oruwariye, just in case people aren't following along with the insides here.
But, I mean,
what a pick!
Honestly, like his pick in the end zone a couple weeks ago was just as good. I think it was against the Bears. Like if you start stringing those kind of interceptions together, like I got nothing to say, man. Like he's playing his ass off. And he's getting back, and it's not just
he had that play in the red zone too. He had that play in the red zone.
He's improving, and again, like this goes back to coaching. I think like we're seeing these guys in the defensive backfield starting to improve, and you have to give Aubrey Pleasant credit. You have to give Aaron Glenn credit. And I mean the frustrated part in me is like, man, like if Amani Oruwariye is improving this much. And
what could have Okudah done?
Yeah, what could they have done with Okudah, man? If they can do that with Jerry Jacobs, like, I'm so rooting for Jeff Okudah to come back from this Achilles, because I'm seeing what they're doing with less talented, less athletically talented guys. If Jeff Okudah can get in there and those guys can work their magic on him, like maybe they got a shutdown corner on their hands.
I want Chris to get in here. The last thing I want to say about that is, to kind of piggyback off the Will Harris thing, like whatever they did today, it worked for Will Harris, right? It worked for this defense. And I think that, looking to the future, you would think that this defensive coaching staff, they're going to put Okudah in a position to succeed no matter where he is.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like they're going to find the right spot for him to be a successful NFL player. And man, I'm with you, Jeremy. Like I just hope he gets right.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you're going to look to this. I mean, we're going to talk a little bit of draft next, too. But, like, I know there's some DBs coming up in the draft, too. Like, I don't know. We'll have to see where the Lions land, obviously, with their pick. And I'm not ready to talk about that. But, like, there's some
no mocks needed.
No mocks needed. This is a deep class as far as cornerback as well. Like, I'm not saying to replace Okudah, but, like, if you want to pair up Okudah and get some other talent up there, like, it's clear they can coach these guys up. They can get them ready.
Yeah.
They can get them ready to go out there every Sunday. Doesn't matter who it is.
And even for players to step in a pinch, because the one other guy that I want to give kudos to is somebody we mentioned earlier, but Jalen Reeves-Maybin. Like that guy was all over the place, and he got put on spot duty. Like they put the green dot on him as soon as Alex Anzalone went out. And I mean, that guy was, he was in Kyler Murray's face. He was breaking up passes. He was making tackles. Like there was that one play that I'm thinking about. I think it was when the Cardinals were threatening to score before the half. And I think it was maybe Charles Harris who like raced Kyler Murray or somebody close to out of bounds, but then like Jalen Reeves-Maybin made the cleanup tackle. Like it just seemed like every time I saw Jalen Reeves-Maybin doing something, he was doing a positive for the team. Like he was doing a net positive. It didn't seem like he was a net negative by any means. So I think that when you look at PFF scores tomorrow, like Obviously, I think Oruwari is going to be up there.
By the
Charles
way,
Harris
props
better
to-
be in the 90s.
Charles Harris.
Yeah, but
Without question.
just real quick on Oruwari too. I got to give some. I know Aqib Talib on the broadcast too. By the way, he was trying really hard to make sure he pronounced it properly, which is
Oh my gosh.
good on him.
It was
Good on him to at
brutal.
least. I mean, I get it. He's at least trying, but he's also saying like, if AO can fix that tackling though, like he's a top CB. I don't know if I trust that. That might just be Talib gassing him up, but we're talking about Aqib Talib, one of the best to play at that position. Like saying that, looking at
he certainly knows what good play looks like.
Yeah, he knows what good chains look like and where to get them.
I think my favorite thing about Aqib Talib being on the broadcast was like Gus Johnson trying to go back to the well multiple times, like being like, "Hey, Jared Goff, you were on the LA Rams team that went to the Super Bowl," and like he basically said like something along the lines of like, "Jared Goff's a really streaky player, huh?" And Aqib Talib, like, "Yeah, he's really streaky." And it's like, holy shit, dude! Like that's not a compliment. Like.
Only getting the best sent to Detroit. What can we say?
Yeah, it's just weird, like getting Aqib Talib put in the booth with somebody like Gus Johnson. It feels like you're putting a governor on Gus Johnson.
Well, I feel like, we saw that with LeVar Arrington too. They're like clearly trying to. Gus Johnson's the veteran here who's going to ease these guys in.
Yeah.
So like, although Gus Johnson also, I think, I get it. There was the thing with the pylon. Where he just
Aqib Talib thought it was the
both
rule
those
too.
guys thought it was a touchdown, but like the refs were already signaling from the field incomplete.
Yeah,
you just waited 2 seconds, it would have happened. But like, no, it's not 2nd foot down. So, but enough on the broadcast. News report here: Lions do not get the A-team broadcasters. Stop the presses.
Well, they might want to start sending them to Detroit.
Ooh, yeah. Talk some trash. We got to talk some trash.
We own the Cards.
We own the Cards, baby. Well, let's talk some more trash as we look to the rest of the schedule coming up here. What comes next for this team? What we can reasonably expect? How many more teams can we get to send out their version of Colt McCoy to take the last few snaps of the game as they wall away in despair?
What a sad 2-minute drill that was.
Oh my God.
But also, like, kudos to the Lions for not letting them score on that final drive. Like, I did not want that score to be 30-20.
Yeah, that'd be up on a billboard if you let Colt McCoy score on you.
Well, it's not that. I wanted that final score to represent what the actual game was like, and a 28-point win over the Cardinals, or an 18-point win, I'm sorry. Math fail. But yeah, like, and even that is generous because that touchdown, like we said, was a give up drive for the Lions. They were just like, you want to throw 8-yard passes over the middle, fine, do it.
It's like, dude, you've already burned 2.5 minutes. There's less than 5. Fine, you want it so bad, take it. All right, let's take a break, and then yes, I think no mocks, but we will touch a little bit on what this means for draft position and why it's not that big of a damn deal. How about that? We'll be right back on the Pride of Detroit PODcast.
Boom. Done.
No, I like Gus Johnson too, guys. It's just, I think he jumps the gun a couple times. That's all.
It was fun.
I can't blame him.
Because like, I guess, did they go to the break thinking that was going to get overturned, that touchdown?
Because they thoued it was. They thought it was a touchdown.
They like hinted to it.
Because everyone was in my I think I tweeted few and everyone's like, that's a touchdown. That's a touchdown. That's a touchdown. I'm like, I just watched a replay and very clearly only got 1 foot in.
Well, the thing is that on the broadcast, like Aqib Talib was like, his foot hit the pylon, and like part of me was like, is that the rule? Like, but I think
announcers.
I think the part of me that, and I quote tweeted this, but I was like, that's like the Lions fatalist in me. That was like, that's probably a touchdown, right? Like that's some rule that is very obscure that I don't know.
But it doesn't make sense, right? Like, there's no reason why that should count as a foot down, right?
No,
right, like
it's not a foot down. Yeah,
I think that's the weird thing where everybody's like, yeah, but like the football touches the pylon and that counts as a touchdown. Right. So like you think that like the pylon has like special powers.
Yeah, I think I might do a rule breakdown of that play since people were confused by it, just to like see what the pylon actually does and doesn't mean. We'll see though. I am on semi-vacation this week, so I don't know if I'm actually going to get an opportunity to do it. But
I think all of us are. All of us are, really.
yeah, maybe this is a good time to clear up things.
Yeah, let's talk about
it.
Programming coming up here this week.
I talked about it a little bit on the Madden Sim, but so we're probably going to have Michael Rothstein on the podcast this week, but we probably will not be recording it live. Because
unless I'm trying to fix my computer. I've got a lot I've got to do tomorrow before I leave town, so I don't even know my availability.
Yeah.
But this all hinges on if I get my computer repaired, great, I can put it on the podcast feed. If I don't, then
I might just try to upload the audio.
Just upload it raw or something. Yeah, and then I can I don't know, I'll try to get a scraps done so that at least sits on the feed. But I think you guys all know it's Christmas season. So Jeremy's off to Florida. I'm off to my sister's in Colorado. Both me and Jeremy will be spending Christmas apparently around here watching football and eating General Tso's chicken. But
yeah, I'm flying back on Christmas. So
oh really? Okay.
So no Madden Sim that Saturday.
I'm working the overnight Christmas morning. So it's yeah.
But anyways, point being, so the podcast with Mike it'll make its way onto the podcast feed one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it'll make it on the Twitch stream. It won't be live on Twitch because I'm going to be on my laptop. I won't have my whole streaming set up. But I'll get the audio, and if I figure out how I might stream a replay of it on Twitch, just so that the Twitch audience gets that video, I'll probably upload the video to YouTube either way, just so we have a video version of it. But basically, this is going to be the last stream you get until the next game, essentially. So, cherish it.
Savor it.
Cherish him. Cherish him. Billy Madison. Anyways.
Yeah.
You must construct additional pylons. I don't know what that is. That seems like a reference to something.
StarCraft. It's StarCraft.
Oh.
Wow, that's you're talking the old magic of the internet. And you don't know that.
Shout out to Apex. Says I also work a night shift Christmas Eve and a mid shift on Christmas Day. Next time you fly, thank an air traffic controller like me.
Yeah. I'll be flying back on Christmas Eve, so yeah, no, I know. Yeah,
I certainly know too. I mean, I used to manage a dog kennel, and guess what? The holidays are the worst during that time because everyone kennels their dog. And
I'm setting up an automatic feeder for Ruby here, and I'm hoping he doesn't starve himself in 3 days because how fucking fat he is.
Pewdie going to ATL this week? No. I'll be close-ish in Florida, but not in Atlanta. Yeah, I've worked it all. I've worked Christmas Eve. I've worked New Year's Eve. I've worked through New Year's Eve as the new year hit. So.
Doing that this year too.
Yeah,
I'll be at Fox Sports Radio when the ball drops in LA.
I was alone with 50 dogs that I was feeding when the ball dropped some 6 years ago. So, and I mean, it's part of this job too, right? Like we have to work through Thanksgiving, we have to work through Christmas, we have to work through New Year's. It's
especially this year since we've got all this shit falling on a weekend.
Right. Yeah. Week without a stream, what will I do? Sorry, I don't know. Maybe I would say maybe I do an IRL stream in Florida, but that doesn't seem like a good idea. Captain James Kirk, thank you for gifting a sub to JTS AMX. I don't know how to pronounce that. JTS Max. We'll go with that. Appreciate that, James. That is your
JT Sam X.
Oh yeah, there is a Sam in there, huh?
Yeah,
that makes sense. JT Sam X. There you go. Chad, do you think there's a chance that the Lions win 4 games now? How? I want to put this up to a poll. Fact. Do the Lions get 4 wins? So they still need to win 2 of their final 3, right? But they have the Falcons next week, the Seahawks. After that, both those games are on the road, and then at home against the Packers. So what seems like a ridiculous thing to ask, will they win 3 of their last 4 games? Now, will they win 2 of their last 3 games? Is it possible? Troy Barnes says 5 games. Atlanta is possible. 4-0, Jeremy. 4-0. 2 of 4. So 1 more, according to Lord Goofa. Right. I mean, here's the thing. Like, what I'd said, and again, maybe we should save this to the next conversation. I'd said, I don't think there's a chance that the Lions go 2-2 in the Final 4. But that was under the assumption that they would absolutely lose today.
Not win this game. Yeah.
And so I thought they would split one of the next 2 games. Now it looks like now every game is winnable, right? Like even the Packers game feels a little bit more winnable now, and who knows, maybe they'll have tied up the first seed by then. They certainly gained ground on the Cardinals. I don't know, did Tampa play already? Did they win?
No, they play tonight.
Oh, that's right. They're playing literally right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see. If they can create some room there, they might not have anything to play for. And then you never know. But
you never know.
What that would mean for draft position would be interesting, let's say. Who clinched the division? Yeah, the Packers clinched the division, but that 1 seed is the one good thing that, changing the playoff format and adding that 3rd bye week did was now that 1 seed is extremely important. And I think that was part of the reason they did it, right? Because it used to be that 2 teams got our first round bye. Now it's only 1.
Right. Which I think was probably the right move to make, right?
Probably. And hell, as a Lions fan, if you're going to give me one more opportunity to make the playoffs, I'm in.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about this in the 3rd segment, I'm assuming, but I don't want to get too much into probably like the biggest topic that was on Lions Twitter today. And it was like, is winning good?
I honestly didn't see. I was proud of Lions fandom because most of the stuff I saw post game was like, that was fucking awesome, and that's it. Like
I feel like it was more so like I feel like it was more so like around halftime ish, like with the Lions up 17-0, and there's a lot of people like, why are you talking about this game already being like a win? Like the Lions still have time to lose the game,
right.
Like this, that, and the other thing. But I think that's probably I think that's where the conversation goes, right? Like, I think that's where the conversation heads in terms of are wins a good thing to exchange for draft position,
right? And
in the greater scheme of everything.
This is probably something we should be saving, but I think you asked me that question either last week or the week before. You're like, if this team goes on a run, are you going to be mad? And I think my answer, I don't really remember exactly what my answer was, but I thought it was like, well, it kind of depends on how those wins look. If they sneak by and they win like a game like they almost won in Pittsburgh, of course that's not fine. Like that seems like a hollow win, and it doesn't do anything for me.
This seems like anything but that, right?
Exactly. if they play like this down the stretch, give me the 12th pick. I don't give a shit. Like if they can turn these players into winnable pieces, I think they're going to be fine at 12.
Yeah.
Right?
I still think that probably you look at, I mean, they're still going to end up with a high draft pick.
Yeah, they're very unlikely to fall out of the top 5, if we're being real.
I'm trying to just kind of like look around right now and see like where
there's only
everything is kind of falling.
Everyone
right
has
now.
4 wins except for the Jets, the Texans, and the
Jaguars.
Right.
Yeah.
And listen,
the Jets were so close to like knocking off the Dolphins early in that game.
Yeah.
Do you know who has the longest win streak in the in the AFC?
No. It must be the Dolphins if you're bringing that up.
It isn't. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. They've won 7 games in a row. But the Dolphins are second. They've won 6 games in a row. They started the season 1-7, and they are now 7-7.
Oh boy, the Tua talk is going to come back, isn't it?
Ooh,
Ooh, are they going to make the playoffs? They're 7-7 for. Oh, God damn, they started 1-7.
Yeah,
they started 1-7 and won 6 in a row. Wow. Let me look at the playoff standings. Are they close? They must be at least kind of close. I don't think they'll make it.
They have to be knocking on the door, right?
They're 11th Right now, the Bills are in the 7th spot, which is the last playoff spot at 8-6. So they're literally one game behind a playoff spot.
Look at the AFC North. It's just like the AFC North is ahead of them. So you figure that they're going to cannibalize each other a little bit down the stretch, right? Like,
Wow, Pittsburgh beat Tennessee today?
Yep.
What?
Yep.
When did that happen? How?
Very carefully.
I'm looking at this box score. This makes no sense.
yeah, I was shocked when I heard that because I was kind of watching that game earlier, and like
They
the
had some
Titans were just like
god-awful
in
fourth
control,
down.
like almost like the whole game.
The
They had some
Steelers had
god-awful fourth down play call.
the
Like, it
Steelers
was
had
just-
168 yards of offense. What? And you win?
Yep.
What? The Titans had 318. They doubled them on yardage. They must have turned the ball over.
That's the Titans' life, baby. That's Nashville life.
Oh, there it is. Turnover battle 4-0. They fumbled 3 times. Jesus
Ryan
Christ.
Tannehill, baby.
Who fumbled all those times? Who was it?
Well, Tannehill had an interception, so
He did.
3
different
Tannehill,
players.
Tannehill had 2 fumbles.
I know who fumbled.
Racy McMahon.
Our good friend Racy McMath fumbled.
John was reporting on it.
That's
He
right.
does not bring it pleasure. By the way, the Dolphins are useless. Please let the Jets win.
Stupid Dolphins.
Dude, we were just talking about the Dolphins. They've won 6 games in a row. They started
I
the
know.
season 1-7.
This whole like, remember how we were talking about, hey, there's like a second level to the NFC. That's happened in the AFC, except it's the entire fucking conference, except for like the Jags and the Jets and the Texans. But everyone else is in playoff contention in some way or another. I'll write off the Raiders because they're the Raiders and they're stupid and they're going to fuck it up. But everyone else is
100%.
like, everyone else is playing for a wild card.
I don't like. Who's the favorite in the AFC? I feel like we have this conversation every week, but who's the favorite?
I think it's the Chiefs again.
Yeah, it's the Chiefs.
I think the Chiefs are back again.
I guess.
We've come the long way around on them, but clearly, like, everyone was ready to christen the Patriots after that awful Buffalo game. And I'm like, they're not going to have that game every time. And guess what? You got your doors blown. And exactly what happened. They got their doors blown in by Indianapolis.
Your
inside.
favorite team.
And Indianapolis. No. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't expect them to win shit. But my problem with them was all about quarterback, right? Colts did the same thing the Pats did to the
Right.
Bills, where it's like, we don't trust Carson Wentz to throw shit.
He completed what, 4 passes on Thursday night?
5 passes.
It's like 5 of 17 or something like that.
5 of 12.
There's a
5 of
reason why
12.
Jonathan Taylor has more touchdowns than some NFL teams, I've heard.
Maybe. Ryan, let me ask you this. Are you buying Jonathan Taylor as a legit MVP candidate right now? He has 17 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, and he leads the league in rushing.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't Derrick Henry be MVP candidate then if
Because
Jonathan Taylor is? I saw that
Derrick Henry's
going
not
in,
playing anymore.
dude. But I saw going into this week that Derrick Henry was still 4th in rushing yards. The guy hasn't
Yeah.
played in like 4 weeks.
Yep. 8 games.
Well, here's the 2 things I'm combating with, because I want to join you on the Jonathan Taylor thing, but I got massive pushback because I guess Tom Brady's having like insane career years again in Tampa Bay. But I think the one thing I don't want to hear, Arif Hassan, I think, retweeted this from someone, or he said it Arif said it himself, and I really agree with it. It's like, we need to throw out conversations about what value means and just say, this is the most exemplary player in the NFL this year. Like, because we get lost in these debates about why you can't give it to any player except a quarterback, because the quarterback is the one that brings the most value to a team. Like, at some point, you've got to get out of that value trap and just give it to demonstrably the best player at any one position in the NFL and stop worrying about value return.
Arif just a generally smart guy.
person.
Because the other thing he said that, you know, we talked about on our podcast when we were previewing the Vikings, but like, there are no like rock solid teams in the NFL.
Right.
Like I think to Jeremy's point, like you ask, like, well, who's the favorites in the AFC? It's like, yeah, I mean, the Chiefs have turned things around, but when the
This
Chiefs
league
were
is all
looking
parity.
bad, they were looking really bad.
Yeah.
This
Like,
league
really,
is all
really bad.
This league is all enforced parity. Teams, each week everyone's got a chance. Any given Sunday, isn't this the shit we preach? This is the shit that guys say on sports talk radio just to fill airtime. Any given Sunday, next man up. League is more parity than ever. Guess what? It's a one and done playoff too. That doesn't always crown the best team.
Yep.
Like, so we can sit here after every game and try to, cast a judgment, but God, this league is week to week. It's psychotic. And like part of that, I think, is that in years past, well, first off, in years past and like decades past, that wasn't true. That there were teams who were demonstrably great every week and beat everyone like that, except for like a couple games. And then the Patriots kind of broke that scale for a while too.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to have that again.
I want to go back to Jonathan Taylor just for a second. And I know this is very out of character for me to be hyping up a running back, but
like, come on, that run he had against the Patriots, that is as good as any other quarterback throwing a deep ball to nail it down.
You're right. And if you were to measure the MVP award as who was the best person relative to his position, I think you have to give it to Jonathan Taylor, because no one's within 500 yards of him. He's averaging 5.6 yards per carry, which is better than everyone that's not a quarterback. And his 17 touchdowns are three more than every other. And the closest one is James Conner, who basically only gets goal line carries or gets a ton of goal line carries.
I'm thinking rushing yards. He's got more rushing yards than certain teams, but I don't know.
And to be carrying a 5.6 average while also having 30 more carries than anyone else in the league, the only one, really to me, the only person who comes close to his kind of efficiency is Nick Chubb. Yeah. Nick Chubb's averaging 5.5 yards per carry, but because of all the injuries and everything, he has 100 less carries. So to be carrying a higher average on 100 more carries, not to mentioning scoring 10 more touchdowns than Nick Chubb, there is no one close to Jonathan Taylor's efficiency right now, where you could make several arguments for quarterbacks. You could make several arguments for defensive end, like Micah Parsons, sure, but there's also a bunch of other guys making 10, 15 plus sacks this season. There is no one doing what Jonathan Taylor is doing right now. No one.
Yeah, and Tom Brady's got 4,000 passing yards. He's doing fine, but the drop off between him and the next greatest guy isn't that far.
No, it's not.
So,
Quentin Nelson for MVP.
Quentin Nelson's block on that game winning run was also ridiculous.
Right? That guy's such a dude.
Let me scroll through chat again before we jump into this final segment. Hey guys, it's Campbell in the conversation for Coach of the Year. He is not. As much as I like what he's doing,
I think that's going to go to Brandon Staley at this point. I don't know.
Who? It's a good question. Who would it go to right now?
It might
McCarthy.
Wait,
Mike McCarthy?
Is he the Cowboys?
Cowboys, yes.
I don't know. It's a great question. I have no idea who would be the Coach of the Year, because we have so many mediocre teams, right? And it's not like the Packers are a big surprise, so I don't know if you can go Matt LaFleur.
Can you do Bill Belichick again? Because I think he's.
No.
I mean, people are going to gas him up, and I think I wrote at Fox Sports Radio that I predicted that Mac Jones would be the Rookie of the Year. I'm not saying he's my Rookie of the Year, but if he did any kind of halfway decent well with the Patriots, people are going to just shower him in Rookie of the Year votes. And that's exactly what's happened with the Patriots. And I think Bill Belichick, likewise, people are blithely ignoring how many defensive starters sat out last year and are just like, oh my God, Bill Belichick nailed a 1-year rebuild. I think he's gonna get credit for that.
Yeah. Flores?
I know, right?
I think it's I would go Staley, McCarthy, Belichick.
I think I have a dark horse, and it kind of sucks because it just shows the razor thin edge that you live on in the NFL, right? If this team ends up converting 2-point conversions and winning these games, the Ravens are in the driver's seat in the AFC North, and for all the injuries that they've suffered,
it's fair.
I think John Harbaugh could be a legitimate candidate for
but
coach
the
of the
problem
year.
is that they're headed in the wrong direction right now, right? Like,
Right.
We haven't even mentioned Bruce Arians.
no offense to Kyle Barber if he's in the chat. I think they've lost 3 straight, and you've lost to the Steelers, Browns, and Packers. So that's 2 division games against what I would consider not great teams.
They're 1-3 in the division.
That's bad news.
That's gonna hurt.
That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good.
What's the standings in that division right now? They're just all on top of each other.
tied
right?
with the Bengals? Browns and Steelers are both the Browns are a game back. The Steelers are 7-6-1.
Yeah,
So,
the Browns
I
are
don't
just
know
a
what
half game back. They play on Monday night, so
Yeah.
the Browns can join that 8-6 group. So yeah, the Ravens are in trouble, and
We are coming to this. I don't think the NFL could have asked for a better start to their 17 game schedule than having everyone in the NFC and AFC like involved in in 6 wild card hunts
yeah.
and several division crowns.
The Browns do not deserve to be in the playoffs. The last thing I
They
want
really
to
But
see
do
is
who deserves from that division? Like
Nobody.
one's winning it, but
I
someone
would
could
say
get
the
in.
Bengals. The Bengals deserve to get in, I think.
Maybe the Bengals Ravens next week. That's a huge game.
poll the NFL right now. Poll NFL fans. Who would you rather see in the playoffs? The Cleveland Browns or the Detroit Lions?
Come on. Don't be ridiculous.
I'm not being absurd. The Lions
Yes,
just
you
knocked
are.
off. They just knocked off the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Ryan Matthews, the Lions are the most dangerous team in the NFL right now.
The most dangerous team that nobody's talking about.
The most dangerous game, man is Dan Campbell.
Dude, see, it would be so cool. That's the thing that kind of sucks about their stretch, right? Is that they play. We talk about this on the 3rd segment of the podcast, but like the thing that sucks about their stretch is like they can't really play spoilers really down the stretch. Like
Yeah, just
the
really
Seahawks
Packers
the
have it
Se-
sewn up.
They can-
Yeah, the
Well, they could maybe-
Seahawks are pretty much out of
They're-
contention.
no.
The Falcons are pretty much dead in the water.
I think the Falcons could they're in a hunt for a card.
They're not really though. Didn't
They're
they lost
6-8
today,
and
right?
they're 6-8 and they
They're
suck.
6-8, but like the Saints and Washington could also be, and the Vikings could all be 6-8 too.
But there's 3 teams from the NFC West are making the playoffs. The Cardinals, the Rams, and the 49ers.
Yeah, the 49ers are starting to turn it on.
Yeah, it's funny because we said at the start of the year we felt 3 teams from that division could go to the playoffs. We just didn't expect
We talked about maybe
the order.
all 4.
We didn't expect the order, and we didn't expect the Seahawks to be on the outs.
Well,
Yeah.
if Russell Wilson doesn't get hurt,
The defense is pretty shitty though.
yeah, no, it's not great by any means, that's for sure. But I mean, they're on a 2-game winning streak.
We've talked a little bit of quarterbacks where we can around Jared Goff. We have yet to talk about the fact that Russ could be up for having.
Not in Detroit.
I'm just saying,
No.
stranger things.
No. Stranger things have never happened. You'd have to trade away a lot of draft picks. You're trading for a 30-something-year-old.
I'm trying to manifest it.
And
What
he
if-
has a
what
no
if-
trade clause. So you're saying Russell Wilson is going to waive his no trade clause to come to Detroit?
To play for Dan
Dangerous.
Campbell?
No.
You're goddamn right.
No.
Dangerous
he's
time.
not.
Dangerous
Stop it.
Detroit.
Jeremy, people are lining up around
Stop
the
it.
block to play for DC,
Okay,
baby.
you guys are riding this wave a little too
Dangerous
high right now.
Detroit. DD.
Oh my God. So now I'm the one who's being accused of having too much fun with a victory. I never thought I'd see the light of day.
All right.
All right.
Here's what I'll say.
Jeremy's just
Mike had
pissed.
that
He's so
idea
worried about
3
the
weeks
Vikings
ago.
playoff chances.
How dare you? They're gonna cream the Bears whenever that game got rescheduled
Wow.
to or
Wow.
whatever.
Don't
Hold
ever.
They're gonna cream the Bears all over their pants.
Oh,
Is that better?
God.
Is that better?
Oh God.
Oh boy. Isn't this so much more fun when they win, guys?
Yeah, it's a lot better.
We're in that nice phase too, where it's like we win and we appreciate winning, but we haven't won enough where I'm just going to turn into an annoying, yeah, we won, suck my dick kind of guy too.
I'm there. I don't care.
I will become like when Detroit is actually good at a sport, I become that. I had someone at work who I didn't realize he was a Packers guy. He wore a Packers sweatshirt. And I'm like, yeah, I hate you now. And he's like, he didn't understand what like the idea of me busting balls with him. And like, I'm like, yeah, no, that's, and he's like, well, I root for the Lions. And I'm like, dude, this is me. If the Lions win, is me just like harassing you nonstop.
No, it's
Last segment.
I think it's even more fun shit talking when like you're not being serious about it. Like when they won their first game, and we're all like posting that podium meme where we're all like talking shit, but we're at the bottom of the podium and stuff like that. Like that attitude to me is so much fun. Like where you're just like you're kind of fake talking shit, but you're also kind of really talking shit because you're just enjoying the moment of actually winning something. And no one takes you as being disrespectful because you're 1-11 or whatever. What is happening in our chat? Why is someone named Huffing Farts confused?
I don't know. just let God sort him out. Lord Goofo was talking ridiculous shit on Super Squares. Yeah.
Rams
fan.
Nice. So pumped for you guys and JG. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by how many Rams fans have been very complimentary of Goff. And I guess I understand.
My guy who I work with, Bo, is a big Rams fan.
Yeah.
And he shared something from the Rams Reddit, which he thought was like degenerate behavior. And it's basically a Rams fan saying that he bought a Goff Lions jersey and it was like, who is keeping their word and buying one after Lions beat Cardinals? To try to encourage people to buy Goff Lions jerseys.
Well, I mean,
Rams fans.
I think part of it is it's a couple things, right? He's a very good person off the field. He does a lot of things in the community, and so that endears you to a city. And also, like, he's a tough motherfucker. Like, we didn't really talk about it much in this game, but dude got injured and then came right back after one play after running it off, and he was down for a while. Like, he was hurting. And came back and played really well, and he did that in Los Angeles, right? He had the thumb surgery or whatever it was, and he came back a couple days later and won a playoff game for the Rams when their head coach had basically given up on the dude. He comes in and wins a football game. He wasn't great in the football game, but he won a football game. He's a good person and a tough competitor. I'll give him all of those things. I still don't think he's a great quarterback, but hey, if he can put more performances like today together, then I can understand why he had a couple of really, really good seasons there in LA. Craig Reynolds loves his team.
Want to get back into it?
Yeah, sure.
I'm trying to hold myself together so I don't throw up again. Sun God, greatest rookie receiver in Lions history. I mean, Calvin Johnson was it out of the bag. Wasn't he?
What didn't Amon-Ra set the record for most receptions by a rookie?
I believe
in Lions history.
He did,
which is kind of wild because remember some of the games where we were like, Jared Goff hasn't completed a pass to a receiver.
Yeah, through 3 quarters. Yeah. Let's look at Calvin Johnson's rookie season really quick. I'm kind of curious.
Riley's saying that he has 17 more catches than Calvin in his rookie year right now.
Calvin had 48 catches for 756 yards and 4 touchdowns. So not a lights out season, but 758 yards ain't bad. I would guess Amon-Ra doesn't have that much yet.
Guys, off draft position yet? We're about to. We're going to as soon as we restart.
Amon-Ra is the first rookie in team history to post 7+ receptions in 3 straight games. He's also only the 3rd rookie in team history to post 70+ receiving yards in 3 straight games. Stacking them, baby.
Sun gods stack things like stars.
Calvin's rookie here was with Orlovsky. All right, fair point.
Someone said Roy Williams too, but I don't remember much of Roy Williams.
I think he was really good in his rookie season.
Yeah, he was.
Because we were like, finally a guy that doesn't suck.
Finally a receiver that doesn't suck.
and then they were like, oh, let's just draft more of them.
Oops, that's the free safety. Wrong Roy Williams.
I was going to say, and then they eventually said, let's trade him to Dallas for a 1st-round draft pick.
And that turned out to be smart. No, still just kind of so 54 catches, 817 yards, 8 touchdowns.
That's pretty good. That's
Yeah.
better than Calvin's rookie year.
It is. I think the touchdowns, that's the part that still needs to grow for Amon-Ra, right? Like, and that just might not
He
be
had a
his
big game touchdown. He had a big game touchdown, man.
He did. That was
I think you're gonna say, Jeremy, that's kind of like a product of just the Lions' offense being bad,
Right.
Not being in a lot of positions.
LJ is mad. You have not put on the mozzarella shirt. He's redeemed.
Oh
it.
shit, you're right. But here's a fun stat: the Lions have not lost a football game when Amon-Ra scores a touchdown. Think about it.
Quick maths.
It's pretty good stuff.
So even Neil, the armchair linebacker, who is a curmudgeon, seems to be buying into Dan at this point.
You gotta buy into Dan Campbell.
Yeah. We'll tell it to Jeremy because he at least knows it. I was just saying, Jeremy, even armchair linebacker, even Neil, our friend Neil, just tweeting now, he seems to be buying in completely now to Dan Campbell and things as a culture shift. This is how we blow all the bullshit away because he saw the post game video, the locker room video and everything. So like, if you can move Neil's cold, dead heart.
You owe me $50,000. I'm broke. What happened? I'm a dead man.
I'm a dead man.
Who had?
I'm ruined.
A minute 43 is the time in which we'd finally make it. And I think you should leave reference.
A minute for you mean an hour 40?
Did I say a minute? An hour 43.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get going. I am on a flight in 10 hours, so.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I've got to pick up a bunch of shit and clean up, and obviously I spent a break here hawking. So yeah, that Campbell sneer pick is blowing up. I'm telling you, man.
I did retweet
emoji
it from the POD account.
All right. Hold up. One more thing. We did draw play of day did draw.
Oh, I didn't see
Benjamin Raven. Benjamin Raven just retweeted it. Lions win. He drew Jared Goff as Mufasa. Cross-eyed.
What the fuck? All right. Here we go, chat. Desktop. I don't know about that.
I love draw play. I love draw play. So good. He's so fucking
Is Mufasa's mane even gray? Or is that
no,
it's just Lions color?
It's shaped like Mufasa's mane.
I think it's supposed to be lion color, so.
Yeah, it looks like it's shaped like Mufasa's mane.
He just looks like, I don't know, like a golden girl.
He looks like he's got a beard.
I do like that he does these bets though. These if the big upset happens, I'll do this.
He's got them all ready to go. Some of them are disgusting. It's a lot of pooping.
Yeah, he does like poop jokes.
Yeah.
Did you know that was 8 straight wins versus the Cardinals for Jared Goff?
I did hear that the Cardinals
he owns
had not
the cards.
I think it was actually
Goff owns the cards.
Cliff Kingsbury had mentioned it to the media this
Mitch Trubisky is to the Lions what Jared Goff is to the Cardinals.
That's a sad sentence.
I'm
everybody involved.
I'm only speaking facts. All right, here we go.
Head the Cardinals to the NFC North. Aren't they basically already there for the Lions at least?
I mean, we're basically just reforming the old NFC Central, where it was the NFC North teams and all these make sense, and also Tampa Bay's in there for some reason.
There's actually a small possibility that the Lions play the Cardinals again next year. If the Cardinals fall all the way to 3rd in their division and the Lions jump the Bears, then they both finish 3rd in the division and we play the Cardinals again. Food for thought. Anyways.
Welcome back to the Pride Detroit POD cast, closing down our final big POD cast before Christmas. Holiday season's coming up. Jeremy's got to get on a flight. I've got to get on the flight. Falcons content might be a little light this week. We're still figuring things out. But hey, you've got a win to keep you warm. So download the podcast, review it. Make sure we're the most reviewed Lions podcast out there.
Can I read a couple really quick? Because I put out a call last week and we got a couple new ones. And I said,
ooh, we got more insults for me, is what you said?
No, they're all very nice.
Oh, wonderful. Let's read a couple before we get into draft talk.
Yeah. Oman601 gave us 5 stars, says, this is my favorite Lions podcast. I like the chemistry between the guys, and I like the insight. The show's personality, and you can tell they enjoy doing it. We sure as hell do after a game like this. That's for sure. And, you know, it's nice to have a coach that doesn't suck. Mary Chipmiss also gave us a 5-star review, says, love this podcast. This is a great podcast. These guys are great, very informative and entertaining. I never miss an episode. So that means you just heard your name, Mary Chipmiss. Thank you for the review. Appreciate it. Keep them coming, y'all. Even if they're not 5-star reviews, we need to be the most rated Lions podcast.
I'll read one more too. We've got CEBAZ20. Yes, this is a good podcast about a really bad team. So listening to the podcast during my walk to college classes. Now I've been a weekly listener for 4 years. A great podcast and a bad teammate for good content. That means CEB's also been around for some of our oldest jokes too.
Well, here's the question though. If the team starts being good, does that mean that we have to start being bad for balance in the world?
That's not hard for me to pull off. That's not hard for me to pull off at all.
True.
I'll just start talking more. Anyway, where do you want to, Jeremy, you said you didn't want to talk straight what this means for draft position in that. And I agree. I think it's a small thing, but like, where were you expecting like us to go as far as like, what does this, I hate to do this. What does this mean for the Lions? Because the only thing it really means right now is the Lions are down to second for now in the draft order with, but they still have 3 more games to play. So,
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be the major topic though, is like, what does this line mean in like, aside from draft order, what does this Lions win mean? And I think it was interesting because Dan Campbell was asked, is this a statement win? Is this something like you're making a statement about this team? Finally, everyone in the locker room sees what a complete game looks like, and that all this effort that they've given all season and all the next man up, attitude and mindset, all that stuff actually works, and they can build off that. He said no. He said like, I don't really buy that. Like, we have to actually continue to put in the work, and like, I it is nice to finally see what it looks like all put together, and yeah, that's clearly what we're trying to do here. But you can't just be like, well, we did it, so now smooth sailing the rest of the way. Like, no, you have to continue to put in the work, and you like to hope that each player sees that, and each player now knows that, yeah, this is all worth it. This is all building towards something where we can take down the best team in the NFL or the best team in the NFC or one of the top teams in the NFC or whatever you want to call the Arizona Cardinals. But like, let's slow our roll here. Like, we have to continue. They have to do it consistently, right? Like you said, I think in the last segment, any given Sunday is a thing in the NFL. Sometimes a bad team puts up a really good performance against a really good team and wins. That
a lot of times.
It's happened a ton this year. In order for the Lions to really, I think, earn the respect of the league, earn the respect of me and cynical writers and cynical radio stations and people calling into radio shows that still want Jim Harbaugh, they need to do it consistently. It's the only way you're going to get this monkey off your back that has been on the franchise for 70 years. You have to do it consistently. And it's nice that they did it once, and I'm feeling pretty good about the way that they did it with the roster that they had. But in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't mean anything until you can do it consistently. So I'm gonna ride the wave for a full week. I'm gonna feel great about this win, but I'm not gonna be like, well, Dan Campbell's our guy. It worked. We're just gonna get some first round draft picks in here, and then it's straight to the top. Like, not yet, but not bad so far.
When you consider the alternative of some of the other first-year head coaches, and you look around the league,
Fair.
right? Like,
Yep.
I mean, we didn't really peel back that Urban Meyer onion, but like, I mean, they're I don't know. You look around the rest of the league, and like, I think of all the teams that look like they're definitely out of the playoff race, you like I mean it's the fan confidence polls
Right.
that the SB Nation does all the time too, Jeremy. Like there's nobody that's trending in the same direction that a team that's 2-11-1 and just won their first game a couple of weeks ago, like
97%, by the way, last week. After
Which
getting
is-
blown up by the Broncos.
By the Broncos.
after getting absolutely demolished, mollywopped by the Broncos.
Fans
I mean,
are loving it.
yeah, and so I think that we definitely have to talk about what this means in terms of draft position, right? Like, and whether or not you would trade these victories for a guaranteed opportunity to get one of the top two guys.
Here's I guess my point on that, Ryan. Like, I need to see what happens between Jets Jaguars first. For the
next week.
Yeah, for a big game and named after a Godzilla character, the Jet Jaguar. But like, I feel like it's just premature to suddenly be like, oh no, the Lions have ruined it, and now they're not going to get Thibodeau or Hutchinson. It's like, we don't really know that. And even if, first off, I think that maybe we're too close to the trees when it comes to Hutchinson. I don't think Hutchinson has convinced everyone he's the 1A to Thibodeau at this point. I don't think that it's going to go 1-2 Hutchinson Thibodeau, depending on what team it is. I don't know what the Jaguars are going to do. I don't, and like, so what? Like, there's some other great positions at the top of this draft, and this is probably a point for Jeremy's. I'll get back to like why it's fine for those two guys. Like, I think either one of those guys is a lottery ticket, and they're both fine right now. But also, this is kind of the upside of getting a lower draft position too. And this is going to excite Jeremy's pleasure zones. You can trade down easier if you're not one in this draft, because it's hard to convince people to jump up to the first overall pick where there's no generational quarterback involved. And we were just bemoaning that this year. We were saying, oh, there's no generational quarterback. That's bad, not just because the Lions want a quarterback, but also that's hard to trade down from it. Well, if you're like 3 or 4, that's easier to trade down.
It's possible. I mean, I your overall point, I think, is good here, which is, who the hell knows? It's December.
Yeah, there's options.
Things are going to change. We don't know team needs. We don't know all that sort of stuff. Like, it does seem right now, the consensus right now is Aiden Hutchinson and Kayvon Thibodeau are 1A, 1B, but that changes. We like, it changes with the Senior Bowl. It changes with the Combine. It changes with just one major draft guy says, most people are talking about this guy, and then like suddenly everyone agrees with that.
And also, I don't think Hutchinson is really getting that. Like,
he is. He is
outside of Michigan.
He is.
I don't.
He's Pro Football Focus's like #1 overall player.
Okay, I guess.
But I mean, but again, the point being, things change. We'll see. And just to set the table, so like right now the Lions are at 2, because the Jaguars are 2-12. The Lions have the half win with the tie. The Texans beat the Jaguars. They're at 3. And the Jets are also at 3. So, and then everyone else, there's a group of guys at 4. The Lions have 3 games left. They have the Packers to finish the season. Next week is the Cardinals on the road. After that, it's the Seahawks on the road.
Falcons. But yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting these birds team.
You're doing this again.
Falcons, Seahawks, Packers. Realistically speaking, guys, What are we thinking? Is do the Lions pick up another win, first of all? If so, is it more? Because if they only pick up one more win, there's a pretty good chance that they don't fall out of the top 3, because they probably don't fall out of the top 3. They win 2, they could fall out of the top 3. Where are you guys at in terms of, coming off a big win like this? Do they have another, wall-to-wall good performance in them where they can beat another good team? are the Falcons and the Seahawks even considered good teams? Probably tough places to win on the road. I don't know. I'm yammering. What do you guys think is a realistic finish for this Lions team?
I think they can pick up one more win.
Just one?
And I feel like it's the Falcons game. Like going to Seattle, and I know Seattle for all intents and purposes is pretty much eliminated. I mean, they're 5-8.
Yep.
It would take some wild stuff happening in order for the Seahawks to make a playoff run for the wild card. But I mean, the Falcons are just a team that like I truly have no idea how they've won 6 games this year.
Right.
Like
Very carefully.
So here's the thing about the Falcons. They're 6-8. They have a worse point differential than the Lions.
Yeah. Yep.
They're minus 126 points. That is good for, let me just double check and make sure. Well, the Jaguars are minus 174 and the Texans are minus 165.
Let's leave them aside.
But the Falcons, I mean, like, I think that they could pick up a victory over them. Like I traveling to Seattle, that's a tough game, and Green Bay might have everything to play for in terms of wrapping up like the number 1 overall seed in the final week of the season. But I want to say too that like I wouldn't be all torn up. Like if the Jets beat the Jags, I think that's going to give enough cushion where it's going to guarantee the Lions are a top 3 pick.
Unless they win 2.
You mean the Jags beat the Jets?
No, the Jets beat the Jags because would put them at 4 wins.
Oh, I see where you're going.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, like, I wouldn't be all like. I think it's another situation where like the Lions are going to have a good thing come out of 2 teams playing one another.
Yep.
Like it was a good thing that the Texans and the Jags played this week, and the Texans got a win. It'll be a good thing no matter what, in my opinion.
Right. My question was going to be, who are you rooting for then? Because if the Jets win, you're right. I think that almost locks the Lions into a top 3 pick. But if the Jaguars win, then suddenly 1 is back in play.
Yeah. Nah, I don't know. Whatever.
Who cares? You're just kind of at this point where it's let's just the cards lie where they lie. Let's see if the Lions can pull off a couple more wins. That's where you're at?
Well, no, Josina Anderson told me that the Lions are drafting Kayvon Thibodeau, so like no mocks needed.
No mocks needed.
No mocks needed. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care either way. Like I think did we say this while the recorder was running, Jeremy, that you said that like, if we're evaluating Detroit's individual performances, how they've been in these games that they've lost, take their record out of it, they are better than the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans and probably the New York Jets. So it would make sense that they're the 4th team in the draft.
Yep.
It's just that they've been able to quirkily work their record to this awful position.
Yeah. No question. And yeah, just, and to bring it to a point I was making off air, I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, where it's like, are you okay with the Lions going with a run down the stretch and it maybe knocking them out of Thibodeau and Hutchinson category? And I think my answer was, it depends on how those wins look. Because if they're squeaking by, if they're playing an ugly game like they did against the Browns and the Steelers and winning those games, then yeah, those are hollow wins. Those are things that I don't want to see. They're not looking good, and then they're getting knocked down in the draft order. But if they're winning like they did today, where they just absolutely wiped a playoff contending, a division leading, a conference leading team, and just make them look embarrassing and make their head coach throw hissy fits in their post-game press conference saying, I got out-coached and I'm pissed. Like, yeah, I want to see that team light the league on fire. I want to see the Lions make, the opposing team run laps. I want to see them play spoiler. I want to see them make Aaron Rodgers cry. I want to see them, put Matt Ryan's career in the dirt. I want to see them, make Russell Wilson want to get traded all that more out of Seattle. Absolutely, I'd take that over a couple more draft positions. Because, listen, if the Lions are doing what they're doing out of guys who are undrafted free agents, out of guys who are 5th-round picks, out of guys who are practice squad pull-ups, I think they're going to find someone pretty good that they can turn into a pretty good player at 5 instead of 2. They're going to be okay.
Yeah, and I think, going back to the question of who's more winnable between Falcons And Seahawks, I almost feel like the Seahawks have like, that's a defense you can just beat up on. And this is a offense right now that is finding its legs, finding what it can do best right now, even with I was just asked, is DeAndre Swift going to be back for the year? I don't know, but like right now they seem to be having no trouble running the ball right now without him. And we've just spent 30 minutes talking about how Jared Goff is now suddenly got trust with Josh Reynolds and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm excited. That's all I'm going to say. I'm excited to watch.
Yeah. It's fun.
I just hate this conversation sometimes because like as much fun as I like to update on where we are in the draft position and keep an eye on it, it becomes too much of an object Lions fans use or Detroit sports fans use, not just Lions fans, but other Detroit sports fans use to flagellate the Lions. Like this is somehow they're doing something wrong by winning.
And here's the thing, like what else could they be doing? Like they can't be like, oh, you shouldn't be starting starting some fourth or fifth string guys. That's what they're doing.
They did
by
that.
Necessity. Like
they did that, and they still won.
Yeah, I guess you could argue take Jared Goff out of the game.
Like your plan to do major league here is not working.
Right. Like I think a lot of people said like, oh wow, the Lions put TJ Hawkinson on IR. Wow, here comes the tank. Like they're tanking. Like, well, maybe. They're like, well, you're more valuable to us next year than this year. Sure. But like the players in that locker room, the coaches, they are not tanking. And,
but it's just this idea that somehow they're screwing up and missing out on something. You're not missing out on anything right now. You're not.
If anything, you should take a look at what Brad Holmes did in his first draft and say, wow, he was able to get a generational tackle prospect at the 7th pick. Yep. I wonder what he'll be able to do with the top 3 or a top 4 pick. Like, and then another pick later on in that first round, and then another pick high up in the, top of the second round. Like the Lions have draft picks. Like that's all that matters. Yep. Right. Like they have multiple, scratch offs. They have multiple lottery tickets. And that comes back to Chris's point about like, well, all of a sudden you're at 3 or 4. Maybe now you're in a range where there is a team that's willing to trade up for a quarterback and you can get some more draft picks. Like that should be what, Lions fans are most, when it comes to draft talk, it's like, how can the Lions get as many opportunities to get players in the draft? Because that's
a lot of positions of need. There's a lot of positions of need.
Yeah. They have a lot of talent they need.
Sounds like you're making an argument to trade down already.
Do we even need to make that argument? The one thing that I have to say, Jeremy, is that after Craig Reynolds' performance today, like if the Lions draft a running back, I'm going to be worried about you.
You should be. I mean, listen, if it's day 3, I don't care. Day 3 picks or whatever. Take your shots on any position you want. But if they, like, I'm sorry, Michigan State fans, if they draft Kenneth Walker on day 1 or day 2, you might not see me for a couple days.
I'm going to be carrying that draft stream even harder.
Oh, dude, the Lions won.
They did.
I'm basking in it. I don't even know if I can get ready to pack for Colorado the way I'm feeling.
Here,
it's going to be quite the victory Monday, man.
Ridiculous stat. The Lions had 2 touchdown drives of over 90 yards. Over 90, not 19, 90.
Forward down the field, baby.
This is a team that wouldn't throw the ball more than 5 yards down the field a month ago, and they drove 90-plus yards against the Arizona freaking Cardinals, who, by the way, had a top 5 defense in terms of DVOA.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's why, yeah, we don't need to say anything else. I think we're done. Everyone, I want you to have good holidays out there. It's been an insane year for Pride of Detroit and for the Pride of Detroit community. Both you guys who watch us live on Twitch, those who follow us on the podcast feeds, thank you. And thank you. And thank you. And thank you. And thank that other person. Not you though. He's kind of weird. You and I, Jeremy is all right, I guess. Ryan Matthews doing good. Let's do more gambling talk. I don't know when that's going to be, but yeah. For myself, Chris Raffett.
For me, Jeremy Reisman.
For me, Ryan Matthews.
Happy Festivus, assholes.